The first thing Farley admitted is something Ford owners have suspected since the F-150 Lightning launched. Ford lost a staggering $4.8 billion on its electric vehicle division in 2025 alone. That is the Model E unit, Ford's dedicated EV business, hemorrhaging money at a rate that makes your head spin. To put that in perspective, Ford lost money on every single electric vehicle it sold. Every Lightning that rolled off the line, every Mustang Mach-E that left the dealership, Ford was writing a check to make up the difference. Farley told investors on the fourth quarter earnings call that the customer has spoken, and that is the punchline. He was not trying to sugarcoat it. He was admitting publicly that the massive push into expensive electric trucks and SUVs was a miscalculation. Ford built vehicles that people found interesting but too expensive. $75,000 electric trucks were never going to move in volume, and Farley finally said so, but the losses did not stop at $4.8 billion. In December 2025, Ford dropped a financial bombshell that shook the entire industry, a $19.5 billion write-down. That is not a typo. $19.5 billion written off because the old EV strategy failed. Of that staggering figure, approximately $8.5 billion relates to canceled electric vehicle programs that will never see a dealership showroom. Another $6 billion came from dissolving a battery joint venture with South Korea's SK On. The remaining $5 billion covers other program costs associated with scrapping years of planning and development. Ford's chief financial officer, Sherry House, confirmed that the bleeding does not stop there either. The company expects Model E to lose another $4 to $4.5 billion in 2026. The break-even target has been pushed all the way back to 2029. That means Ford's EV division will have burned through well over $20 billion before it ever turns a single dollar of profit. For Ford owners, this matters more than you think. Every dollar Ford loses on EVs is a dollar that does not go into improving the trucks and SUVs you actually drive. Engineering resources, quality control budgets, warranty reserve funds, all of it gets squeezed when billions are evaporating from one side of the business. The biggest casualty of this admission is the F-150 Lightning. Ford permanently discontinued the all-electric version of America's best-selling truck in December 2025. This was the vehicle that was supposed to change everything when it launched in 2021. It won Motor Trend's Truck of the Year in 2023. It won the North American Car Utility and Truck of the Year award, and Kelley Blue Book named it the top electric truck pick in 2024. None of that mattered in the end because Ford could never make money selling it. Andrew Frick, who heads Ford's gas and electric vehicle operations, put it bluntly: the American consumer is speaking clearly and they want the benefits of electrification like instant torque and mobile power, but they also demand affordability. The Lightning was not affordable. Rather than spending billions more on large electric vehicles with no path to profitability, Ford is allocating that money into what Frick called higher returning areas. But here's where it gets interesting for current owners. The Lightning name is not dead. Ford announced that the next generation F-150 Lightning will return as an extended range electric vehicle, which is essentially a hybrid with a twist. It will have a large battery pack and electric motors that power the wheels, but it will also have a gasoline engine under the hood that acts as a generator to recharge the battery. Ford promises more than 700 miles of combined range before both the battery and gas tank run dry. The trade-off is that buyers lose the frunk, that massive front trunk that Lightning owners loved, because the engine needs to go somewhere. Power delivery stays fully electric, since the gas engine has no physical connection to the wheels. It just keeps the battery topped up. This is the same approach Ram is taking with its 1,500 REV, and it signals that the entire industry has concluded pure electric trucks cannot deliver what truck buyers need at a price they will pay. The result is a vehicle that Ford claims is 15% more aerodynamically efficient than any other pickup truck on the market. The team used a bounty system where every engineering decision was weighed against its impact on battery size and efficiency. Raise the roof by 1 millimeter and it adds $1.30 in battery cost and cuts half a mile of range. Every single person on the team understood these trade-offs in real time. The body of the new truck uses just 2 lightweight aluminum castings compared to 146 welded parts in the body of a comparable Ford Maverick pickup. That kind of simplification dramatically reduces manufacturing cost and assembly time. They even made power folding mirrors standard on the base trim, not as a luxury feature, but because it reduces aerodynamic drag. One motor handles both the mirror adjustment and the folding, saving cost while improving efficiency. The first vehicle on this platform will be a mid-size electric pickup truck launching in 2027 with a starting price under $30,000. Farley called it a Model T moment for Ford, referencing the vehicle that put America on wheels over a century ago. The platform can support up to 8 different body styles, including trucks, crossovers, SUVs, sedans, and even commercial vans. Ford will manufacture lithium iron phosphate batteries at its plant in Marshall, Michigan, starting in 2026, using technology licensed from China's CATL. That facility alone is expected to create 1,700 manufacturing jobs and produce enough batteries for roughly 250,000 vehicles annually. But here is what Farley said that really raised eyebrows. During a recent appearance on the Spike's Car Radio podcast, Farley directly named Tesla's Model Y and Model 3 as the vehicles Ford is coming after. He said Ford will have an all-electric affordable vehicle to compete with Model Y and Model 3, and that there is nothing else like it on the market. When the chief executive officer of Ford Motor Company publicly names specific Tesla models as the benchmark, it tells you something fundamental about where the industry stands. Ford has accepted that Tesla owns the affordable electric vehicle category and is now trying to take market share directly from them. Farley confirmed that all parts are quoted and designed, that the manufacturing facility is being retrofitted, that megacasting machines are up and running, and that prototypes are being built with Ford's own software controlling the vehicles. This is not a concept or a promise. It is a vehicle in advanced development. But there is a storm coming that every Ford owner needs to prepare for, and Farley admitted this too. Tariffs are hitting the automotive industry harder than anyone predicted. Ford absorbed roughly $800 million in tariff costs in the second quarter of 2025 alone. For the full year, the company estimated a total tariff impact of nearly $3 billion. These are costs on imported steel, aluminum, parts, and raw materials that go into every vehicle Ford builds, even the ones assembled in the United States. Ford builds about 80% of its vehicles domestically, which provides some buffer, but even American-made trucks use components from Mexico, Canada, and Asia. The F-150, built right in Dearborn, Michigan, uses transmissions from Mexico that are now 22% more expensive because of tariffs. Industry-wide, tariffs have added an estimated $30 billion in costs to the automotive sector. Average vehicle prices have increased 10.4% as a result. Destination fees on 2026 model year Ford trucks and SUVs have hit $2,795, among the highest in the industry. Experts estimate that tariff-related price increases range from $3,500 to $12,000 per vehicle, depending on the model and how much of its content is imported. Farley slashed Ford's full-year profit forecast to account for these tariff costs, dropping the adjusted operating profit guidance from a range of $7 to $8.5 billion down to $6.5 to $7.5 billion. For buyers, this means higher sticker prices, fewer dealer incentives, and tighter financing offers going forward. The used car market is already seeing increased demand as buyers get priced out of new vehicles. If you are a current Ford owner, your vehicle's resale value may actually benefit in the short term because higher new vehicle prices push more buyers toward used options. For current Ford owners, the immediate takeaway is this. If you own a hybrid F-150 or Maverick, you are sitting on one of the most in-demand vehicles in America right now. Resale values on these trucks remain strong because demand continues to outpace supply. Ford is investing more into these powertrains, which means better parts availability and continued engineering support for years to come. If you own a Lightning or any Ford electric vehicle, the picture is more complicated. Ford is pulling back from large electric vehicles, which could affect long-term parts support and resale values. The Mustang Mach-E and E-Transit continue in production for now, but the strategic direction is clearly shifting away from expensive, pure electric vehicles. The removal of the $7,500 federal electric vehicle tax credit has already dented demand further, and without those incentives, the math on buying a pure electric Ford gets harder to justify for most consumers. If you currently own a Lightning, maintaining it through authorized channels and keeping detailed service records becomes even more important for protecting whatever resale value remains. If you are shopping for a new Ford, timing matters more than it has in years. Tariff-related price increases are building into 2026 model year vehicles. The employee discount programs and aggressive incentives Ford offered in early 2025 are unlikely to return at the same levels. The $30,000 electric truck is still 2 years away, so if you need a vehicle now, waiting for it is not practical for most buyers. The strongest value in Ford's current lineup sits in the hybrid trucks, specifically the Maverick Hybrid and F-150 Hybrid, which offer electrification benefits with the range and convenience of a gasoline engine. What Farley admitted changes the trajectory of Ford Motor Company for the next decade. This is not a small course correction. It is a fundamental rethinking of what Ford is, what it builds, and who it builds for. The company is getting smaller and more focused. The days of Ford trying to compete in every segment with every powertrain are ending. The future Ford is a truck company, a hybrid company, and eventually a low-cost electric vehicle company, but only when the math works. Farley said it himself. There have been far too many good college tries by Detroit automakers to make affordable vehicles that end up with idled plants, layoffs, and uncertainty. He is determined not to repeat that pattern, even if it means admitting that billions were wasted getting to this point. The honesty is refreshing, but the consequences are real. Every Ford owner needs to understand what this shift means for their vehicle, their next purchase, and their long-term relationship with the brand. Ford is not the same company it was 3 years ago, and in 3 more years, it will look different again. Stay informed, understand the implications, and make smart decisions based on where Ford is actually going, not where it used to say it was headed.